Yeah, but again, as with the theme of the thing, like making $1 million is you got to think outside the box, and the box being the structure of the system that's in place that we have, the normal system that we have in place now, right? So like
Mhm.
when you say making $1 million this year, you
Mhm.
thinking, hey, what assets can I roll over to basically flip to make be worth some more money, or like what,
Mhm.
like you are thinking that the normal way of trading hours for cash won't get you to that $1 million, right? So
Mhm.
when you thinking, hey, I'm gonna make $1 million, and like I tell, like this year, that's been my passion too, to make $1 million, because like I felt, well, you got a house, and your
Mhm.
house is worth what, $500,000, so you're half a millionaire right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I I almost was at $1 million value or whatever when I had the two houses, this house, and what else did I have? I had a few other little things or whatever, but it really gets you thinking about this, the way that this system is set up. If I can just do something to go in between it, and like my mentor was really good at saying, "Hey, look, you don't need all the money, but if you get a small percent of a lot of money, like Richard Pryor did in Superman 3, yeah, Superman 3, right?
Mhm.
If you're making a lot of money off of it, if you're making small money off a lot of money, that's still a lot of money."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think he was
Forever
Ronald
change.
Virginia, whatever,
I mean,
right?
but look at it like this, right? So the problem, and this is where we're talking like within the box, outside of the box. So I told you a million. Some people are not thinking about six figures. Some people aren't think. Some people are just happy. And don't get me wrong. I mean, if that's what you want, but you know, it's like well, caviar dreams, champagne wishes. It's like if you want to make 60,000, 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, a million, you have to think or know that it's attainable in order to. Because I mentioned this before, but my goal was to make $40,000 a year, like at one point in time, and I made $40,000 a year, and it was not it. It was I was like my goal, like I can't fit within my goals the things that I want to be able to get done with making $40,000 a year, and I can't do it with 80,000. You know, so understanding that, well, no, in order to be financially, not necessarily financially secure, but be able to have the finances that you want, seeing what makes sense to you and then trying to achieve it. Because we would, you know, this come from, you know, degree, no degree, you know, just being able to build yourself in general. It's like, well, I don't need to, I know I need to get this to be able to get to this next step because this will help me improve, like figuring out your plan to be able to get to these steps is most important because a lot of people feel like we see things and we feel like we need to have them right then rather than seeing the big picture and figuring out how to get them later. Like it's
Okay,
almost, it's like
so
the Jordan aspect. It's like, well, you know, Jordan's come out on Saturday, so I gotta have that Jordan that day. I gotta wear it that day. You know what I'm saying? Rather than like, well, no, let me, you know, stack my money up, see if the Jordan, well, Jordans don't really go on sale like that, like they used to, but you know, grabbing them, you know, later on for a cheaper price, saving your money. If for example, they were to go on sale, I mean, just put within this example, but understand that, oh, well, I don't bust 200 right now. I could bust 100, 130 later, save me $50, use that 100 or $200 that I was going to buy the Jordan with initially and saying, well, let me invest that over here, throw this in my savings and I don't know, get 3.7 or 4 point or 4 point percentage back on that money and then buy it while it's on sale and then you make money while waiting for it to go on sale.
yeah,
That's
and see the crazy part about that is like I think about when you sent me the, I was like, yo, we about to get into it.
mm-hmm.
And I brought up Richard Pryor in Superman 3. He was a hacker back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then. And I think
That
you
was the
got
worst Superman, FYI. That Superman was terrible, but keep going.
Man,
I thought it was good because of Richard Pryor, but then I tried to I rewatched it maybe about a few years ago. I was like, damn, this is not entertaining.
man, he had that chain on. Why he had that chain on the pool and just couldn't take it off? Like yeah, whatever. Yeah, it was a couple. What the
Mhm.
heck? But I say that to say because like growing up in this tech field, you learn that like the hackers really make the money because they challenging these systems or they moving in between these systems, right?
Mhm.
Like they working somebody from the inside out when they spear phishing, right?
Mhm.
Uh, they call it welling or whatever. Like I have to look at life like that because like coming from where I'm from, I didn't see like you said, 40,000 was a lot of money.
Mhm.
Now I see that 40,000 ain't really a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. Where I see people spending $1 million on a house that back at home probably only cost you $30,000. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Uh, but recognizing recognizing growth and where you can and where these systems interact and where you can make it like you got to have a hacker's mentality. You can say, hey, look, if if I want to do something, like let's just say I want to do a sports network, right? I want to create the best basketball experience, right? For kids that want to play basketball. I want to be able to move them through to the point where they get into the NBA or whatever, right?
Mhm.
uh there's ways that you got to look at the ways where, hey, this is how they doing it now. How can you break that mold? How can you say, hey, look, I can do this more efficient doing it? Like, hey, I can do it from stats. I can have people make teams based on what a player's stats was last year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
there are ways that you look at life and say, hey, look, how can I make people's life easier? And basically I gain all the money from it.
Mhm.
Uh, I think of PayPal or Cash App, right? PayPal and Cash App, nothing new. Hey, Sean, my mom, you in Atlanta. My auntie need $30. Can you give her $30 and I'll give it back to you when I put it in the mail?
Mhm.
Same concept, Cash App. You know what I'm saying? They got value on their system, and they take money and give money to people with it after they have that value on there. So like you got to create something like that, and oh, you don't have to create something because like it could be as, I mean, the straightening comb made a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So like you finding
Really
something.
something. We have so many ideas that, and this is sometimes we guard our ideas and don't work with the people that, because bro, like think about when we was growing up, right? Like we we were looked at as the smart ones, right? But we grew up with the same in the same circumstances as everybody else. Like we all didn't have no like when I look back at it, I'm like, damn, we were poor. You know what I'm saying? But like we weren't poor. Like we had things, but we weren't you know like my mom couldn't pay for my school or my pops couldn't pay for my school. Like graduate, hey, look, go figure it out. Like at that point in time, and that's what it was. And but I'm saying that to say like we had people that, you know, like, oh, well, Brian's a smart one. Let me work with Brian on this idea, see what Brian's thoughts are on this, because he may be able to, because it's the whole idea of, leadership team where you got CEO, CFO, all that stuff. Is like, yeah, you got the person over here for your finance, you got the person over here that runs the whole business, you got the person over here just for the chief experience
Just shoot them
officer,
titles out.
whatever.
You talking
Yeah.
about chief COO, which is chief operating officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
CEO, chief executive officer. He keep all the C suites, and
Mm-hmm.
they like you got the CTO, which is the chief technology officer,
Mm-hmm.
and like he the one who implement the policy based on what technology it got and can use, right? So like you said, it's shoot. I just want you to shoot the names out there when you say it. Like
Oh yeah.
shoot the titles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but what I'm saying is you have all of these entities that even from you don't have to work for a Fortune 500 company to have these roles. So, you can get with a Brian or a Sean or Eddie or anybody from the hometown and be like, well, I know that you're doing this over here. What do you think about this over here, or vice versa? Like I feel like social media has made it so much easier for us to interact and be able to tell our story. If you
Yeah,
want to tell it, if you don't want to tell it, you can tell exactly what you want, and you can put out exactly what you don't want people to hear or see. So it's a unique thing that we have that capacity, and it's easier. Like you're talking 15, 20 years ago. I mean, hell, you say even graduating from high school, being 30 years now, it's like I lost touch with the people from from 95 until 2005. I mean, granted, I was go back home and all that stuff, but at the same time, social media has made it where it's bridged the gap for, I'm gonna say most of it, but a good portion of the interactions. Us creating the 30-year reunion. It's like we're doing that all virtually. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So we're all coming together. It's like, oh, you're good at this, you can run this committee. Oh, you're good at this, you can run this committee. And it's like and it's just conversations. It's not us on. I mean, the four things that you mentioned: arguing, debating, conversations, and interrogations. Now, it has been some interrogations on some, on some of those calls, but it's literally just been strictly conversations and trying to figure out how to build to the next thing. And I think that's like a prime example of how people can come through and figure things out versus trying to, oh, I'm gonna do my own reunion, or I'm gonna do da da da. I was like, no, like you got people that want to do this stuff that just some people are afraid to say it up front. I mean, we had the meeting last week. I'm like, no, fuck that. If this decision isn't made, then fuck it. We move on. We make the decision and keep it. Like those are the things that us being able to have these conversations and being able to build. Whether it's the 30-year reunion or it's just things that we want to do in life, is like those conversations aren't difficult conversations to have. It's just
right.
getting on the same level. So.
Right. And like you said, with social media, like you and I'm gonna go back to this side. Like it's crazy how on social media people from home all good, but then like when you call them, it's all bad, right? So
Yeah.
that's crazy because I see some people and I'll be like, yo, they going on the trip. Like, don't that nigga owe me some money? But
Look, it'd be weird for me. I'm like, damn. I was like, shit, I can't afford. And like I said, I'm doing all right. But I'm like, damn. I was like, I wish I could afford to go on a trip every 2 months or 3 months or whatever. Like, I was like, I gotta stay at home to make sure this electric bill and all this other stuff is paid.
yeah, but
So,
so like I wish it was more of a balance like that, like like and then like I put on something on my LinkedIn because like being a CEO of a small company uh and wearing a lot of hats, they like it's they'll tell you, oh, he own his own company. Yeah, that's cool, but them late nights, early mornings, and
yeah.
them disappointing no's, you know what I'm saying? Like when you got a contract in your hand and you like, ugh, and then something happened and they're like, oh, we're gonna go a different way. You know what I'm saying? But you like, yo, like uh again, the part of being outside the box is saying, okay, like that's the downfalls of having a small company. But
Hmm.
then like even with this reunion thing, it's great to see people get in the role and like you at your direction, they're able to do everything they need to do, right?
Yep.
And then like you wish, like I was like, yo, I wish you would put that on your resume because I would speak on that, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So being outside the box is looking for opportunities to say, hey, look, this is what I did. And people, some of the stuff that, so, and like, I don't share all the stuff that I do on social media,
Hmm.
mostly because like, I don't share relationship stuff. Like that's
No,
just a part of me.
I never, yeah, I've never been built like that. I just never thought that made sense. And plus, I always feel like everybody's a threat to that. To tell you the truth, I just don't feel like. Yeah, I feel like, and it's weird too. Whenever I see like somebody's Facebook post, and then it's like, yeah, I was telling somebody this other day, I see someone's Facebook post, and then they would break up, and then you won't see none of the old photos with that person. And honestly, for me, I don't. maybe as I've gotten older, I don't abide by that just because that's a part of your history. Like some people are trying to always erase their history to not show those
Yeah,
things. Like,
the timeline don't change even though you erase it. They were still a part of it. Like
yeah,
I don't have the
so
time or
erasing all
energy.
your pictures and shit. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's too much energy for me. I'm like, fuck it. Look at
yeah,
the pictures. They were like, you'll leave the pictures up. I was like, why am I? Why? Who am I? Who is this up here for? Like, it's literally meant to. And I mentioned this before, but it's like you're either here for the ride or you're here for the stop. And it's like you was along on a journey, so why am I gonna pull you off my journey? Like
right.
that history is there. Like even if it's from I haven't talked to you since 2016. It's like, well, shoot, 2016, we was in a great space, you know. Like,
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you too. Like if a relationship was not good, then I probably wasn't in it long anyway. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Here's the thing: we have good parts of relationships, and like that like, and then at the end of the relationship, we all got growth.
yeah,
So like, so I feel like, and all my exes, if I ain't told you all this, I want you to do better, right? I doubt if you find another motherfucker like me, but or a better
hmm
motherfucker like me,
hmm
but I want you to be happy. And we want just because we want compatible, but only like I want you to do good. I want everybody I come in contact with to be as successful as they want them to be. Because at the end of the day, like I'd rather be around winners than losers.
I want you to be like you said. I want you to be successful with or without me. If you come to me and you say, "Hey, I need some help with this," even if we're not in a relationship, I'm still going to help you, just because I'm still rooting for you. Like it's just not in the same capacity of a relationship, you know.
Yeah,
And that's just always interesting to me.
yeah,
People are like, "Oh yeah, dead all my exes. I ain't spending the block on nobody." I'm like, I mean, okay, well, like, but if you need help and you reach out to me, I'm not going to be like, well, I
but
ain't
I
spending
think
the
that
block.
says a lot more about your character too, right? So like if an ex feel like it's so bad that y'all can't have a conversation, then like that's a waste. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody in my history, like I said, if we can't have a conversation, then we didn't really have many conversations anyway, right? I want like if if all your exes is effed up, then you kind of effed up for picking them, right?
Yeah. I told her, look, what was it, Cat, and I'm not a fan of Cat Williams, but I did like when he said this. He was like, he said, uh, you dealing with you had ain't shit niggas because that's because you're ain't shit bitch. You know, I was like, damn. I was like, you know, it is what it is. Like you have a bad, you know, you don't pick the right ones correctly.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what I
that's
mean.
not knock on nobody because you know what, we all grow and have a decision that we made that we may not have appreciated. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
ladies, and I don't care your baby daddies and stuff like that. Like
hmm
you picked them, and they might have been the worst thing ever. But like at the end of the day, the next pick, I'm hoping that that's better. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
hoping that you can let go of that trauma from that dude or from that setup to really grow into your next relationship to where you can be like, yo, I can relax. I got somebody who got something for me, but yeah,
Nah, a lot of people just, you know, that's and this is thinking outside of the box too, is like understanding, like, and this we talking about with relationships, like understanding that even though we're not, like intimate or emotionally tied to each other, that we can still help each other. Um, we can still be better people, even if we agree to disagree. It's like, well, if you need my help, I'm not going to be like, well, she did da 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 da, so I can't help her. I'm still going to help that person, even if they did me the wrong way. And that's just the empathetic side of me. Like, well, if somebody asks me for my help, I feel like they really need it versus
mm-hmm.
like, I mean, I have been asked, and I'm trying to think if I told this story, but man, one time, this woman asked me, and it's funny. I had just met her. I met her through my boy, um, my boy Rich. Anyway, Rich, and he had asked me if I could help her move, and I think I might have mentioned, but I don't know. I'll talk through it. I'll keep it quick. But I helped her move her stuff from one place to another. And then she was saying that how she was moving into an apartment and da da da, and she needed some help. And I was like, well, I was like, I don't have a lot, but I was like, I can loan you like $400, but when would I get my money back? And they were like, well, you get it back on Friday, and this is a Wednesday.
Mhm.
So Friday comes, and it becomes, hey, I wasn't able to get through the apartment, but I'll know more on Tuesday. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm very, like I said, I don't be strict on money, but at the same time, you give me a date. I'm like, okay, well, I'll contact you at 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday. No, but but I hit her up on Tuesday. She was like, oh man, I ended up not being able to get the job, blah blah blah. And then I was like, okay, now my money's in limbo. And I asked
I
her,
want my $2. You remember that
listen,
movie?
bro. So then so I asked her, I was like, hey, look, when will you be able to get my money back? And like I said, we wasn't like intimate or together or anything like that. But I just saw her like trying to help, being a like Too Short would call it a simp at this point in time. But but I'm
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, yeah, yeah. You
look,
think it
Too
was a
Short.
simp move?
It wasn't a simp move, as in like I wasn't trying to get nothing from it. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
was just trying to like help somebody out.
yeah,
So in that scenario, like that Tuesday, I was like, so when I'm gonna get my money? She's like, well, I get in 2 weeks, and I was like, okay. And I'm very, very specific within the
literal.
dates. I'm like,
Yeah.
so 2 weeks from today is this date. How about we just do Friday, that Friday of that week that you give me money?
Uh,
So okay, cool. So then I hit her up, and I'm trying to like keep a cordial. You don't want to. It's weird how we gotta
you don't
be
want to
nice
jack
to
off your
people.
all your
That,
money, right? You want to
right?
keep them kind of happy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like weird how you got to be nice to people that owe you and shit. And so that Friday came, and so I was already like, hey, so what's going on with my money? She was like, maybe you should ask God for it. I was like, what? She's like, well, maybe you should ask God for it. Bro, I didn't know what to do, bro. That was a trigger. Like when we talk about triggers and stuff, I was like,
Did God
why,
borrow it?
why I gotta ask God for my money? You owe me the money. Like this is, I don't need to ask God for my $400. You owe me $400. I still ain't got it to this day. That was like
Do you
2000.
think her every once in a while be like, yo, the boy?
Look, fast forward 2024, chick randomly hits me up. And she was just like, she had contacted my boy Rich, and she had called me, and and I wasn't really trying to hear, because she had still owed me from before. But then she was like, "Hey, I'm in a situation, da da da." And I was like, "Good luck," like I'm not
Oh,
the
she called you for some help?
last year. Yeah, she called last year and was like, and,
Hey,
and
I'm firmly. You should call. You should be like. Did you ask God for it?
so after having this conversation, then we going back and forth in text, and I was like, "What she say?" She said, "No, in 2024. No, that was no, it actually might have been 2023." But anyway, asked me for the money, and I was like, and I did say in the text, I was like, "Well, you did tell me to ask God for it. Why don't you reach out to Him and see if He can give you some, and help you out?" It's like, see, that's the stuff I'm talking about, blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yo, like, I don't, I'm not, I've
What you
never,
mean? See, that's the stuff you talking about. What?
bro, I'd never been in a relationship with this person or engaged. Period. I loaned you money, you didn't pay me back, and that was on a whim of just me being nice. And
Yeah.
now I'm at fault for not loaning you money again after what I mean. That's just dumb. Like, why would you do the same?
Don't
It's
spend your
like,
money
listen,
after that.
look, I can be as sympathetic as possible and try to, help somebody out. If I don't get nothing from it, I'm okay with taking that L, but you ain't gonna do it to me again. And like I said, that's from somebody that I didn't know that. Know at all. So let alone, I have way stronger connections with people that, I'll loan money and I'll figure it out within family. But yeah, I was like, nah, like maybe you should ask God about that money that you want right now. Yeah, she wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, see, yeah. See, now we ain't even talking. Because what you saying ain't got nothing to do with me, and that's another thing. Like, stop taking stuff. If people don't tell you stuff directly, stop taking it to heart. Because like them sideways jabs and stuff. But if you can't say my name, then it ain't on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm literal. Like, if you make these Facebook posts or these social media posts and you can't say my name, then it is what it is. I got
That
people
yeah,
to do.
that part. Listen, bro, I'm at a point now. Like, don't ask me no questions if you don't even know my middle name. Like, it's like you can't tell me where I was raised. You can't tell me blah blah blah. Then
The
don't
E
ask.
word. He
Yeah,
said
yeah, yeah. Right. Don't ask me these questions. Like, I don't know you well enough. Like, you can't tell me my middle name. Move on. Like,
yeah.
no, we're not that personable. Or we're not in touch with each other like that. Where I need to be interrogated with any of your questions. Like, nah, I don't owe you
Right.
no answer.
So,
So,
okay, so now we're gonna go back to where we started. The
mm-hmm,
value. There's value to good conversation. There's
mm-hmm.
value to debate. You learn something new. I don't think there's value in arguing. I think like you said, 9 times out of 10, you replicated this emotion, and now emotions are blocking all information coming in. So, like, you don't like a Trumper, you never like a Trumper. It's just waste of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, learning that your time has value and that you protecting your peace is part of that value, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't get into the Jordan versus LeBron debates anymore because I'm like, yo, dude, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, they both
You
great
already
players.
have your opinion. It's just like, you have your opinion. Your opinion could be based on fact, but it's still an opinion. Like, does that make
It's
like you could
yeah,
find
it's two
like you
different
could find
eras.
reason to say this person. You could find reason to say LeBron is better. You could find reason to say Jordan is better, and that's just how it is. It just depends on your opinion of the accolades that they receive within their career.
Right.
So you could be like, oh well, Jordan won 6 finals, didn't lose. You're like, well, LeBron went to 10 finals, won four. It's like he went to more. Or so if you weigh it as in like who's been to more finals, you'd be like, well, then
Again,
LeBron wins. You say
what
who
we
won the
win,
most? You say
what we
it's
win,
the
what
Jordan.
we win after the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You
what?
win nothing.
Yeah,
It's just a fruitless debate. It really gets you nowhere.
exactly. Now, if
It,
we Stephen A. and
let's
and
argue about
and
some
Perkins
money. Like,
making
let's figure
money
out how
off
to.
of it,
Yeah.
then that's another thing. But if we sitting here talking about stuff in the grand scheme of things don't matter, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't matter, then why am I wasting my time? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Why you talking about the 10 best MCs or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I got my list, and
Mm-hmm.
like,
It's
whatever.
funny. Look, I don't know if you saw my Facebook post recent, but it was a post with it was with the Chronic, Illmatic, um, Ready to Die, and it was another album. I can't remember the fourth album, but it was essentially Wu Tang, Into the Wu Tang, and I post one guy to go blah blah blah, and I like to post them just in general, just to see people's thought process. But
Uh,
I know that when I post certain albums, people aren't going to answer, and they're not going to answer based off of people's how I feel about it, people's how they feel like people perceive them. So instead of making a choice, they'll say, "Well, I can't get rid of none of them," as an example. And it's funny, my boy Kelvin, who I went to college with, roommate and all that stuff, he was just like, y'all really be what do you say? He said, I'm trying to think how he worded it, but he essentially said that y'all really be actually y'all really be acting like you getting rid of these albums forever. Like no, it's a preference. Like no one's judging you based off of what you get rid of. It's just like, no, like if I look at them 4 albums, it might be Wu Tang, you know what I'm saying? Or it might, I mean, it just depends on the day,
yeah,
but it's not like I still can't listen to Wu-Tang no more, but it's just weird, sometimes when people automatically assume that people are watching them in that example that they can't get rid of one of those albums as an example. It's like, nah, it's
Yeah,
easy. Like I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to the sword chopping while I'm, cooking I don't know, cooking Alfredo or something. I don't know. It's like, or I
yeah.
don't want to hear about weed smoke as I'm pruning my garden. It's like weird.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, like I hate those because I was like, yo, like you said, you're not getting rid of them.
mm,
It's just what like I like the ones that be like, what we listen to, which one ain't going on the trip with you because I can do that one. It's easy
mm-hmm.
because I couldn't listen to Old Dirty Bastard for a 6 hour trip. You know what I'm saying? But like,
I
yeah,
can't listen to Old Dirty Bastard for more than like 10, 15 minutes.
man, I
And,
used to
and,
be like that.
and, and it's just a novelty. Like at this point in time, I'm like, what the? Okay, we need some Snow Allegra or something
Well,
like
see,
that.
what got me is like I was listening to Doggy Style,
Hmm.
and I was like, if you give me 10 bitches and I fuck all 10, like
Hmm.
nigga, nobody's doing that. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
Dog, Juice, Gin. And
it,
that's
it,
literally my favorite album of all time. Like literally my favorite album of all time. Like just for
you
the
know what
being able to listen
disappointed
to
me, Sean? And like I
it.
was an NWA fan. That
Mm-hmm.
100 miles running. I was like, yo,
It's about the 14.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, yo, this is terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Die, nigga, die, nigga.
No,
What?
no. Listen to what's the name of it? It's the song that Ren got by himself. You talking about like a 14-year-old and shit back then? Uh, it's off of the 100 miles of running EP. I think of him in a second, but it was hella. Listen to it as an adult. That shit was hella awkward.
I mean, even that EDE track, I rather F you on that was on
The FL for zagging niggas for life.
nigga for
Mm-hmm.
life. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, like that was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
the actual song, yeah, I like the funk part of it, but I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is terrible. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But it was the novelty of it being so controversial. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, but I can listen to a Too Short album, The Ghetto. I can even listen. I watched this stupid movie where they talk about CB4 being in the Bay, like it's based on almost around a true story.
Mm-hmm. I ain't seen
Uh,
that. I heard.
yeah, I'll send you the what you call it. But they had my man Lawrence from dang, what is the
Oh, you talking what's the shit with oh girl? Um,
Insecure, right?
yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Had Lawrence in there, and like it was the Bay, and like it was like I like the Bay because like I liked how the Panthers and everybody operated out there, and I like San Francisco is really a great organic city, man, because like they are dreamers there, and they feel like they can get it done.
Hmm.
But that movie, Don't Fight the Feeling. That's a Too
Hmm.
Short album that I can still listen to, right? Because I was like, dang, they is really dissing them in the same album. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean, but
that was
some of the stuff is hard to die. I mean, you're talking like Nancy Reagan, like licking on my dick like it was corn on the cob type of shit.
Ronald Reagan came up to me and said, "Do you have the answer for the U.S.
As
economy
economy and the
and
cure
the
for
cure for
cancer.
cancer?" I said, "What are you doing in the White House if you're not selling cocaine?"
Ask your wife, Nancy Reagan.
That's
I
it.
know she spit that game.
Like what? Yeah,
She came to his house and gave him a blowjob in the middle of the night. And I'm pretty sure Nancy Reagan was not doing that.
right, right, right. Well, he was basically telling them to sucker. This is the same dude, and I'm getting off of the point, but this is the same dude that was like guns, guns, guns. But when the Panthers came in, he was the only Republican that was like, no, everybody doesn't need guns. You know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
they stormed the Capitol when he was a governor of California with guns. They
Mhm.
say stormed. They just came into the Capitol real military like, right?
Mhm.
and that's why they was considered a hate group. I mean, not a terrorist group. That's wild how they do that when they was just looking to be a full man and not just 3/5, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I digress. But
Nah.
yeah, man. So I know we getting a little long. We had another topic that you wanted to talk about. You want to roll that on out there?
And jump into let me pull it up real quick. Let's see. Let's see. God damn it, I can't find this shit. What was? Do you remember what it was? I can't remember because I was about to wrap up, but we can jump into the other one.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was about your personal vision of yourself and what you look like. Rocking a do rag.
oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's weird. Like sometimes perception, like not that you got to be all professional and everything like that, right? But it's like the whole bonnet, do rag, being out, blah blah blah, just wearing pajamas, just And I more so got it. When we were dealing with COVID, we were locked in, we couldn't do much, we had to go. But you know, it's always interesting, like making sure that you're presentable, and it just depends on your idea of being presentable. Because we talked
Yeah,
about this on like, is it talking proper or doing things a certain way just for visibility standpoint? It's like, well, not that I don't want to say that you don't care about yourself, but like, how is it present? I guess the question is, because this is how I feel. How is it presented to you when you see our people, you know, when they, not to say that they have the capacity to, look better, but when you just see them out, just, and like I said, I don't want to be biased, but you know what I'm saying, just out with bonnets, out with do rags, out with, and like I said, I
looking
don't want to,
ratchet, looking ratchet,
I want to be
like
motherfucking Bill
looking
Cosby eating and
unkept.
shit.
And I'm gonna be like, and here's my thing, right? So I fly a little bit, and like I see, like I don't want to point Spirit out because I understand, like Spirit. I done took a flight with Spirit and it cost me $300 one way, but that's because they was going that way and it was worth it, right?
Yeah.
But you and I tell my kids this too, and I wouldn't tell anybody something that I wouldn't tell my kids. You represent yourself, your family, and the people around you with how you look, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I know we have some artists that feel like they need to represent themselves with tattoos and stuff on their face. And I ain't knocking that. If you can get a job with tattoos on your face, if you feel like that's an expression of you and what you contribute to this world, cool, whatever. But I want you to understand, when like people like, you shouldn't be judged. We all judged out here by what we look like,
Yeah.
and I think I look at it the same way as like I look at people with teeth, right? Like you want, if you don't have any teeth, then you haven't taken care of yourself to that capacity to, and it's like, how can, and there's diseases and stuff that happen and things of that nature that might affect people, but like there's a minimum capacity that I see myself,
Mm-hmm.
and in that minimum capacity, I'm gonna always be clean, even if I ain't got the best clothes, they'll be clean.
Yeah.
Uh, and
I shop at, I mean, I'm not rich, but I shop at H&M and I spend a 20 $30 on a shirt,
yeah,
pants, or whatever,
I
just
stop
to
at Sheena and stop on
look,
Sheen.
that part, like, just make sure that I'm put together
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So,
because it don't cost a lot of money to put yourself together. But like when you go out here in your pajamas, and then I think, dang, you sleep in your bed with those,
yeah.
like after you done touched everything and roll around on the little whatchamacallit at Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
like there's a pride that you got that I can't give you, that you can only have in yourself. And I just think that like that's what's necessary. Like as long as you know you are what you present,
Mm-hmm.
then walking out that house is a statement in itself, right?
Yeah. Now I
Yeah.
put like this as an example, right? if somebody walks up to me and asks me for an opportunity, not to say that, like if one is dressed one way and one is dressed the other way,
Yeah.
automatic perception would be this person may not be that serious about it. And they may be, but um, just from stereotypes, and we live off of stereotypes and prejudice. That's just what life is, right? It's not right, but that's what it is. I mean, if I see you and you got, say for instance, tattoos all over your face, and you got tattoos all over your body, and I'll just go from a job interview perspective. You come in with, I haven't seen this happen, but like I'm saying as an example, you come in with a do rag versus somebody else comes in clean, suited up, booted up for the opportunity. Most likely, just from the vision of the company that I work for or that I manage or own or whatever, I would be more prone to take the person that I see that looks more the professional type. Um, and like I said, I mean, sometimes we get into this whole thing of let me be who I am, and it's like, well, yeah, you could be who you are, but that don't mean I have to fuck with you.
Let's keep it
Like,
real. Like, let's keep it real, because at the end of the day, I represent my company, and if somebody comes in and sees you, do you represent my company? If Walmart let the cashiers come to work with a bonnet on their head, would you really want to be there? You know what I'm saying? Like, would you really, if they come in with dirty smocks on, you know what I'm saying? Would you
mhm,
really want to be there? Would that be somebody that you want to buy your food from at McDonald's? And
yeah,
I say this, like, don't get me wrong. If an immigrant that I knew was picking fruit or whatever and was dirty, but came to me and said, "Hey, bro, I heard that you had opportunity with this tech stuff. Uh, can I know more?" I have no problem saying, "Hey, yep, here's my information. Hit me up." Boom. Now, if somebody come to me in some pajamas at Walmart and ask me the same thing, I'm gonna really question if they really want to get to work.
they're serious about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't want to present yourself to the public in a place where somebody might have had an opportunity for you. You know what I'm
hmm
saying?
yep.
And so just keep it real. If you don't want nobody to service you in it, then you really shouldn't come out here to be being in it either, right? I
No,
mean,
but look at it like this. It's like sometimes like you could take it even deeper and say that, say for instance, I'll see, say for instance, a woman says, "I'm not dating nobody 5'10" or below," and it's like, so if you come to me at 5'6", she's the decision has already been made. Like, no matter how great of a person you are, no matter, and that's something that can't even be controlled. That's just how tall you are. So it's like sometimes I feel like people pick and choose things that they're going to be mad about, and that's one thing. It's like, well, let me be me. This is who I am as a person. It's like, well, that's who you are as a person, but that doesn't mean I have to agree to, I don't know, providing a job or giving you my time or blah blah blah. Like, I don't literally have to interact with you because I'll never ever see you in life ever again. And I tell people all the time, like, I'll blow my horn, I'll yell at you, da da da, because honestly, it's such a these moments that we have where people, get into it. It's like, well, nah, I'm not gonna sit up here and argue with you because it's just not worth my time and energy. And this goes back to the original conversation. It's like, do we like what do you waste your energy and your time on? And then is it really worth that battle of going back and forth with somebody where your energy is being impacted? It's like, nah, it's like, and then understanding how to think outside of that box of, no, I don't have to put myself in the same space as this other person. They can be in that same headspace. What Cardi say I got condos in that bitch head. Like she thinking about me, but I ain't thinking about you.
right.
It's just like understanding that I don't have to have you in that same headspace that you have me in, like I said, so somebody could be mad at me, like why he doing podcasts, or why he DJ, or why he doing these things. And honestly, the things that was just mentioned, that was me thinking outside of the box. Like, well, I didn't know how to DJ before I started DJing. I just bought the shit and just hoped, and I mean, I practiced and went with it. But what I'm saying, like, even from this podcasting thing, like, we can only get better. That's how I look at it. I look at it from the optimistic point that we talked to earlier, rather than the pessimistic views of other people's. Like, well, no, let's go ahead and let's record. Let's have these conversations, and if it goes the way that we think it's going to go, it just continues to grow. If it don't, then fuck it. We got seasons of podcasts that people could go back and listen to, and we can share it with kids and grandkids and grandnephews and nieces and all that shit, and just keep it moving.
Right, exactly. And right now, since we on that note, you can purchase an ad on the Thor sign for at least $100 for 2 episodes.
You say you can do what?
Purchase an ad on the Thor hammer.
Oh,
The Thor
really?
hammer.
That would be kind of crazy if 30 seconds or a minute ads, because like I said, I ain't getting no money off of this shit. Cool. Well, all right, John. Thank you for jumping in, Brian, and it's always great talking to you. I love the topics that we pick or that we talk about. It's always good to build that energy, because sometimes, like I said, this is the most I've talked to a family member ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, is I talk to sisters, I talk to family, but just being able to have these conversations as far as what we're going through and how we handle things, because a lot of people don't know how to handle things. And like I said, I may not handle everything like perfectly, but I do feel like we have a grasp on where we're going within life, and still how we can continuously build stuff in general. So
Yeah, it's crazy how our roots and how we get stuff from our roots that we had no idea about. You know what I'm saying? Like, your smile and my smile, when we smile, it's ear to ear, nigga. Like, it's
obvious. It is what it is. Like, that is,
that's just it.
them niggas is cousins.
It's not just me. It's you. It's my dad. It's Keisha. It's even Kiki. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's even my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy how we come and we have these mannerisms, and we learn. And like you said, it's good talking to family and on internet UTs. That's what it's all about. It's like I talk to family trying to get to the. Now it can get messy, but but it's a beautiful thing when you can see yourself and you see how those roots has been planted by my grandma Beatrice McMillan, and how it grew into how it's growing into us. And it's like, wow, like you got grandnephews, man.
yeah, and they don't even be caring to talk to Uncle Sean and shit, but whatever. They be on their rope. I mean, but it's funny too. I called both of them yesterday, and I have more than, but them two in particular, the twins, Tone kids, and I was talking to them, and I was like, yeah, what y'all doing? He was like, oh man, he's like, oh, just watching this YouTube video, and I was like, all right, well, I don't want to disrupt. I said I didn't want to interrupt. So if you want, y'all can call me back later. He's like, no, Uncle Sean, we have time to talk to you now, but when we're ready to get back to the show, we'll get back to the show. I was like, all right, man. So then they sat there and watched the show for another 3 to 5 minutes. I was like, well, hey, I got to go, y'all. I love you. I was like, so.
Right. And that's a beautiful thing. And now we got to document it, right? We got to document it, the conversations that we have, and I just wonder how much, like I told you at the beginning of the podcast, when Grandma told me, she's like, well, my knee hurting, but at least I got a knee to hurt, so I can't like that was to me. I was like, oh
yeah. Listen, I look, and it's like having. I mean, this is where think the whole topic of thinking outside of the box is like, yeah, I mean, everybody, in my opinion, has, I mean, besides rich people, has some money problems, right? But thinking outside of those money problems is like, well, how do you think outside of that to be able to be optimistic about things. It's like, well, that's where the thinking outside of the box is important, because you got to think like whether you're going through turmoil or you're going through finance, emotional problems, whatever, like where's the shining light at, to focus on to see if there's something out there for you that's positive. Because like I said, you can't be negative all the time. Like that shit is exhausting. Now you
You
know how
could,
much
but
energy it takes to be
don't nobody
negative.
want to be around. Yeah, you can be negative all the time, but don't nobody want to be around that stuff.
Yeah.
Like like everybody got problems, dude. Like
Yep.
everybody got problems from toenails being clipped to like so to dwell on the problems in life, like you just like I don't know if it's a superpower or not, but like that to me, the problem's gonna be there. It's how I overcome those problems and how I make it better not only for myself but for my community. Like we ain't scratch on that part, but like it's important for you not only to do well for yourself, but why have people go through the same problems when you can eliminate it, right?
Yeah, and we could talk about that next, because I know we're getting towards the time, but no, definitely like understanding that we all have similar, and that's the thing. Sometimes we have the same problem, but we're unwilling to help others be able to get through that, and that's sometimes I have an issue with. It's like, well, let's try to figure it out together. Let's try to get money together. Let's try to do this together. It makes it a lot easier with multiple, because sometimes it feels easier that when you're doing it because you're doing it for yourself, but sometimes it's better to know that other people are dealing with the same thing. So interacting with them and trying to understand the problem a little bit better. I've learned from listening to people's bad advice on the good advice I should follow through with, or that I should consider, and I wouldn't have thought about that unless I heard somebody else's bad advice. Like, oh man, what are they talking about? Oh, I'm just gonna do what I was, I'm gonna do.
When it don't make sense and you got like make it make sense. But again, these are those things that you gotta have a certain understanding of how you gotta have a logic to
Mhm.
apply it to, right? Because people tell you anything and everything, and like I told you on the last one, don't take everything that I'm telling you as gold.
Mhm.
This is a starting point. If I said something that somebody didn't know nothing about, this is a starting point. Now you can take it wherever you want to, or you can rebuttal it in the comments. You can say, "Hey, boom, boom, boom,"
Yeah,
like I'm with it
we up
because
for dialogue. I mean,
yeah,
that's the most important part. Like everything, and that's one thing I feel that everybody has to learn in life. You're not always right, and you can, and even when you are right, it's a way to voice that where it doesn't come off as, because it's the thin line between confidence and being an asshole, right?
yeah,
Like you can like I can tell you 2 plus 2 is 4, but if I'm yelling it at you, you're not trying to hear me telling you 2 plus 2 is 4. I'm like, well, but no, but listen to me like this. Like when you see this over, you see this number over here, you see this number over here. The way that the math works, and I go down and I break it down like from a, I don't know necessarily a scientific method, but I'm breaking it down to you on this is why it's like that. And I'll say this to this day, like I hate having to explain why sometimes. Like I'm like, well, no, 2 plus 2 is 4. Like, why don't you get it? But I've had to learn that, you know, explaining it sometimes, and that's why I said I want to explain it to everybody. Like I said, if you don't know my middle name, then like why are we sitting up here having a conversation? Because I may not even talk to you again, and this is just an argument that's just a waste of energy. But
hey,
if I'm
but
sitting up
yeah, that type of stuff come back to you, and then like you said, 2 plus 2 is 4, but
here,
it's also 2 plus 2 is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, right?
yep, hmm
And so like being able to break it down and then telling the story about it, uh, that you can't dispute that, right? You can't
yep,
dispute that. Like apples, I got 2 apples here, 2 apples here. Together they 4 apples. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Uh,
I mean, but some people do, and I think, and that's why I don't really. I mean, I don't mind
but
having a conversation, but say for instance, religion and in government, it's like that's always the like people are gonna say, well,
so,
why do you read the Bible? It's like, because I do. Like,
yeah.
why is that?
But,
Why does my religion impacted by you? Like, I care less about me trying to teach you about my religion. I care less about trying
but
to.
that's more of them. That's more of them putting the judgment on you, right? Like,
Yeah,
prove it to me. Like, and who are you to
I'm not
prove it
proving you
to?
shit.
Like,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like, you the one who came up to me, asked me, you prove it. Like,
yeah.
what? Like,
Like, you can't be what's the word where you don't have a God um
atheist.
yeah, you can't be atheist and you want me to explain my God to you, and you have like, in I would say probably on a higher number, like percentage, that I'm not going to waste my energy trying to convince you why I believe in it, why I believe in God, or why I believe in the Bible, blah blah blah. Now, if I tell you straight up, like, well, I believe in this because this is how I was raised. I believe by faith. I'm led by faith, not by sight. And you can't understand that, then fuck it.
Sean, ask me.
Be motherfucking atheist. Like, I don't care about you
Ask
not
me,
having a
Sean.
God.
Ask me, Sean. Why do I believe in God?
Why do you believe in God?
Why don't you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Prove
why
to me
those?
why it's not. And that's the thing. Like, and when you get to that point, it's like, do you want to really have this conversation? And it's like, those conversations were so exhausting that it's like, I don't want to have that
See,
conversation with
those
you because you
conversations
already
are
have a
better.
reason why to do it. It's just
But
like,
those conversations to me are better. Like, remember I told you it's a waste of time to talk to some people, and
mm-hmm,
I got protecting your peace. But those conversations, I think, play out in their head later. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
So like, I will have those conversations about my beliefs and my choice, because at the very end of it, my job is to spread the gospel, right? So
mm-hmm,
if you don't believe in the gospel, I'm not going to tell you what you did wrong. I'm going to tell you what he did right for me. You know what
mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And like, if you can take it with a grain of salt, but like, I'm not gonna sit here and debate that he don't exist because you don't believe it. That's cool. Like, there's power in beliefs, right? Because I can tell
Yep.
you that you can take a pill that I told you was aspirin and feel like you was healed when it was really just baby powder. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
I
mean,
gotta.
I think the bottom line is just, look, you believe in what you believe in. If you want more history, here's a history of it. But just knowing that your way, say for instance, as an atheist, like, thinking outside of the box of why someone else has their faith and just respecting it. And that's just the bottom line. Like, I can only respect what you do, and you can only respect what I do, but you ain't gotta like it. But it's just a mutual respect, whether it's religion, whether it's government, whether it's things that you do in life, whether relationships, etc. It's like, nah, you have your opinion on that, and that's okay. I don't have to, abide by that, and then we just keep it moving. You
Exactly.
know, so
All right. Well, it's been great. I'm sorry that I added another extra 15 minutes.
mhm.
But
Nah, it's
like
all
I said,
good.
the conversation is good. We can cut this up in two parts or whatever. I like the last one. It was an hour,
Mhm.
and I felt like that was a good way to start.
All right, cool. All right, well, thanks. Good, great talking to you. Let's have some more conversations, and we'll go from there.
All
Thank you
right.
all. Make sure you like, subscribe, drop a comment, say whatever you want to say, and keep it
If,
moving. Keep the dialogue going.
if you tell me I suck, you better tell me why I suck.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Well, thank you all for attending. Talk to you all soon.
Peace.